One. Welcome, guys. Ben Golan here with Chris Level, joining you all today. We're going to be talking about football and the upcoming transfer portal. This report is brought to you by Primary Residential Mortgage Incorporated, PRMI. Whether you're looking to buy a home, refinance, construction loan, conventional FHA loan, Jim Mitchell, that's the guy. He did my mortgage about 4 years ago. So, he's a great Red Raider. He's on the site. So, his information would be below the player. Chris, how are you?
Well, and it's around Thanksgiving here, and so one of the things I'm thankful for is Jim Mitchell. Yeah, he's no seriously, he's good people, man. Yeah, you don't have to live in the Metroplex, which is where they're located. It doesn't matter, man. They will take care of you, and yeah, interest rates are kind of up and down and all those things, but if they can help you with a new mortgage or refinance or whatever it may be, or a second home, all that good stuff, call Jim or his people. Yeah, I was, Ben, you obviously follow the recruiting stuff extremely closely as you do that for us at Red Raider Sports, and this is still this, I guess, time of year is still weird for me.
Yeah.
After doing it for so many years, and it's like it's all about that first Wednesday in February. It just always was like a separate holiday, or and but as the sport has changed and the player acquisition window is basically semi turned into all year round in so many ways, it's made these times, like basically what we're about to get into here in the next 2 to 4 weeks ish, wild. And it doesn't mean that's when it all goes on. I mean, the window will open and it will close, and then it'll open back up one more time. But I want people to understand that there's going to be some movement here. You could get some surprises, good and bad. There will be players coming and going. I think with that, and so it's we can kind of go through I don't know, position by position if you wanted to a little bit. And I have no way of knowing exactly how this is going to play out, but I think there's some conversations we can have, because I think there's definitely some things that you will need from the outside, even if everybody were to come back that you think is coming back. But there are folks that will not return here, that have eligibility left and all those things. That's the way it works. See Philip Bliddy and Kobe Minor from last year, and Reggie Pearson, three guys that, and the sad part is Kobe Minor would have played some this year.
Oh, yeah.
Philip Bliddy would have played some this year here, but they're starting at Indiana, I think, kind of, and there you go. And Reggie Pearson's playing a lot at Oklahoma. So,
And we're not going to speculate about, you mentioned guys will be coming, going, good surprises, bad surprises. We don't want to speculate on names, but one guy who a lot of people have asked for, and I think we kind of know, Taj Brooks most likely is going to go to the NFL, right?
yeah, I think you try to run out that ground ball. I think you try to, is there any interest? What can we do here? But there's not usually a lot of tread on those tires from a running back standpoint with their career. I can't imagine his stock would be any higher than it is right now.
Yeah.
I mean, he's even a guy that I would even wonder if you'll get him in the bowl game. I mean, I don't know that. I'm just saying, but it's guys like him that I think it's they have something to lose. So I hope he does play selfishly, and I pray to God he doesn't get dinged up. But it's those kinds of players that they have decisions to make, and is it ultimately their call? Do their agents say something? Hey man, does mom and dad, does whoever, you don't know. But I mean, Taj, he's as lunch pail guy as there is, but I just don't, I doubt you get him back here next year. I think that's a very fair one. And I don't, like, it's just funny because, like, as we run it down, we can just stay on that side of the ball. You've already had one entry into the portal, or intent to enter, in Tyler Shuck. But do I think you'll go get a quarterback, maybe plural, not necessarily out of the portal, but added to your roster? Yeah, one, maybe two. I do think that is absolutely the case. I mean, it's just funny because who was playing quarterback for you last year when you beat Texas?
Donovan Smith.
Do you remember how you converted a lot of those fourth downs?
He's running around making plays happen.
And so I think you'll get somebody that can run a bit and
Yeah,
that you're okay with running them a bit. I think a different kind of, I don't know, skill set, if you can find one. And again, we can want all you want for things, and sometimes square peg round hole. It's like, okay, we can want this, but it just doesn't exist, and so we're going to continue to want it because it's just not out there. But I do think you'll bring in another quarterback or two, maybe another high school kid, maybe another, not to compete with Will Hammond. I'm talking about somebody that you feel like you can play, and so it probably won't be high school, but maybe D2, D3, junior college,
yeah,
portal. Somebody that's wanting to come in here that maybe is good enough to start, but maybe isn't good enough to necessarily beat Barron, but can give you something on a Saturday afternoon, even if Barron is healthy and playing. Something along those lines. Running back, I don't think you bring anybody in from the portal. I think you've got I think they like Anquan Willis. I think Cameron Dickey is somebody that has got some size to him. I think we could talk about a lot of other folks. The scary thing is there's a lot of folks that are you durable enough, like you've got, is it Jacoby Williams? You've got, Jamori Davis was a
yeah.
signee this past year. You've got Cameron
Valdez.
Valdez. But are those guys durable enough, and can they withstand all the pass protection and all the things that you ask a running back to do? I think Cameron Dickey potentially, but I think Anquan Willis certainly can. And I would say, is it going to surprise me if Bryson Donnell stays here? No. Is it going to surprise me if he were to want to play more elsewhere? Not going to surprise me a bit. I think those guys. It's like, I mean, I could give you a bunch of names like that on this roster, like Tyler King, Matt Keeler, Harvey Dyson. I would have thought Cam Watts was kind of in that deal on the defense, but I think he's now kind of starting to carve himself out a role. I think you'll have a role for him next year. But if he wants to go be a bona fide starter, there's just some of those guys. It's like, how long are they willing to wait, or are they good enough to ultimately do it here? But I just, like your older wideouts. I think it's fair to it's not going to shock me at all if any, all or none. Okay, so we're clear. But like Loic, JJ Sparkman, Jerron Bradley, Miles Price, those are all like older guys that aren't necessarily featured. Maybe they want to come back and continue to be a part of this. Maybe they are like, you know what, man, I think I want to go do what Trey Cleveland did.
Yeah.
I want to go catch the ball. I want somebody to throw it to me a bunch. I'm not worried about at this high of a level or here or whatever. You just don't know what people are thinking. So there's a lot. And I don't mean to be irresponsible by tossing up various names. I'm just talking about depth charts, where guys are, how many years they've been in the program, and now it's time. And are you over recruiting them? Are the guys you're bringing in going to jump guys? And so those are all conversations that are about to start taking place, I would think.
Yeah, and at receiver, everyone except for Xavier White, I believe, has the option to return. They still have years, so
And I would love for Xavier White to be able to return. Nehemiah
yeah,
Martinez is another name. Nehemiah
yeah,
Martinez caught 32 passes last year. He's caught 2 this year.
yeah,
And it's because he's been kind of in the running back thing. He missed most of camp because of that, injury or whatever it was. And so he was just way behind from the get-go. He looked great in the spring, but then he missed, I don't know, what was it, 4 weeks there in early August into early or mid-September. So those are all just, and we all know who's coming.
yeah,
Okay. I think you've got, Crest and West and who've redshirted. We know Micah Hudson's coming. I think, so there's all kinds of dynamics with that position, but it's just interesting because go look at those 2 wideouts that lead Central Florida, for example. I think they caught like 38, 35, 38 passes, and they're like in the 700-yard range or like 20 yards per catch type guy.
They're fast. They're
Okay,
fast and
most of
run.
what you have, like most of your guys, like you're talking 35, 40 catches for like 350 or 400 yards. There's a massive difference here.
Yeah.
If there's an upgrade there, I don't know if you will just drop what you're doing to try to talk guys like begging them to stay if or whatever. So there's just all kinds of dynamics with that position that I think you need to be better. I would hate to lose like I won't feel good at all about losing like a Coy Aiken or a Jordan Brown, some guys with some years ahead of them. But I get it with the older guys. They've got, they've graduated. They can go do what they want. I mean, that'll suck, but it's just part of it. And then I would be shocked if you can't go find maybe some older, experienced receiver out there to fill in a bit, because that's what Danny Salee, they call him
Yeah.
Big Tui. That's what he's doing. I mean, he's going to be what's he got 2 years left to
2 years.
play.
Yeah.
He's an enormous individual that basically like you need bulk on the interior without Tony and Jalen next year, and he can do that. You add Quincy Ledet, you add Duda, you've got Amir Washington backing him up, you've got Trayvon McAlpine, but you needed some bulk and some twitchiness right there, and Mr. Salee hopefully can bring some of that to you.
Yeah, give me all the Oklahoma, guys with Oklahoma offers. If they don't want to go there and they end up in Lubbock, that's fine with me because,
Yeah,
they're usually pretty good. But before we go full-fledged back to defense, I wanted to finish on the offense. We talked about receiver. Tight end is a position I think they're gonna really be looking to add because
I've
just
probably buried the lead here. Unfortunately, you're right.
tight end and offensive line. I think those are kind of, really what you're looking for. And then this is just off, random, but I posted, we were talking about a quarterback edition and how it's probably not going to be some, bona fide Power Five starter or whatever. A guy like Henry Colombi, would make a lot of sense if you can get a guy
Yeah,
like that who has a little experience coming from a group of five and can just so you're not in that same situation next year where you're relying on freshmen because
you
you
won't
just
do that
you
anymore.
can't, yeah, you can't live like that.
Like a D2 D3 guy that plays a ton.
Right.
And it's going to be difficult to bring in somebody and realistically tell them, hey man, like wink wink, you've got a shot to be the starting quarterback here. I mean, no, nobody's stupid.
Yeah.
So if you're hopeful that, I mean, there's a reason that Tyler Shuck was like, hey man, I think I'm gonna cruise. Like, hey man, Tyler, we wish you luck. Good luck. I mean, there's a reason that all that is playing out that way with it, kind of transitioning to Barron. So, but it's almost like you need a poor not I don't know if that's the right way to phrase it, but a poor man's Donovan Smith. An athletic runner type that you feel comfortable with playing, and it's older, and yeah, there's some different things that I think would be a good skill set, but not necessarily going to be easy to find, and not necessarily going to be easy to find with. I mean, if somebody's in a JUCO or D2 D3 and they're worth a darn, they're probably going to have more opportunities than just yours to offer up. But this is what you're looking for, I think. I don't think you want to have to go on the road and hand the ball to an 18-year-old true freshman on a Saturday night and say, help us out. I just don't think you want to be in that position anymore. So there's that. But Ben, I think the O line and the tight end, I didn't mean to bury the lead, but that's really maybe the biggest needs on the entire team
Yeah.
are that you'll lose your three interior guys on the offensive line. I think, Caleb Rogers could technically leave. I hope he doesn't. Monroe Mills could technically leave. I hope he doesn't.
They both went through
Um,
senior day to that point.
they sure
Yeah.
did. They sure did. And so you just don't know. And so otherwise you are, and I think that that's why the NCAA has the mandatory 3-day period for you next week for coaches. Used to be they'd go on the road, but now they make them stay in the office because it's essentially those days are, hey, set up meetings and re-recruit your kids. or have conversations so you're not blindsided. We're giving you this time. We're forcing it on you. So that there's that. But you're gonna, I mean, I could envision portal additions I could envision you bringing in two, three, maybe even four from the portal if you can find the right ones. Some of that will be dictated by who leaves you, other than who's graduating. Guys that just want to maybe play more or whatever. Tight end is the same. Baylor Cup can technically, I think he could return.
Yeah.
I think he's moving on though. Mason Tharp, and then Teeter's gone. Mason Tharp, he's had his health issues and all those things, but I think he can return. But that's tenuous at times, and so I think you'll bring in at least two tight ends, via the portal. And you've signed what you're going to sign Trey Jackson. He's nowhere near ready to be able to do what you need. This is a 210, 215 pound kid that you're going to need to like grow up a lot physically and all those things. So, because you run a lot of, there's a reason why the running game is kind of taking off here. I mean, your tight ends have a big, big hand in that.
Yeah, and one guy to watch, Alexander Lines. He's at Garden City Community College, and I expect him to visit in December. One of his coaches mentioned that to me, and I've posted that. So he was at Arizona before Garden City, and he would have 2 years left. So 6'5", 255.
Yeah, see,
Definitely the type body type that you need in that room.
and I think that's why like the junior college thing is not been as heavily recruited, as other spots. The portal is in some ways watered down until you see who all gets in there. But the junior college thing is kind of and again, it's not the end all be all, but it's another avenue that I think hasn't been picked over near as much from a recruiting standpoint. So I think, and like I just think the whole D2, D3 thing is somewhat fascinating too. The group of five, I think, has been good to Texas Tech as well. From a portal situation, I think Dre McCray and Stotts and Cole Spencer, and I think Fresno State's not group of five necessarily, but in those terms. But CJ Baskerville was good to you, and Braylon Lux has been good to you with the San Diego State, the Fresno State kind of connections there. So anyway, and then I'm like, I'll be fascinated. Like, is there anybody in Waco that gets in the portal because of the bleep show going on there that Joey or Blanchard would know? Because AJ McCarty was barely in the portal, and they're like, yes, like
Yeah.
we want to be in that business. There could be a variety of different possibilities there. So I would keep your eye on there. Oh, but other Big 12 schools as well. Like something else I was doing the other day, I'm thinking like, man, if I was Oklahoma State, I'd call Tyler Shutt.
Wouldn't be bad. They managed.
That's who I'd call. I mean, I cover my bases and like make sure that I'm not going all eggs in one basket. But like, so some of this familiarity with certain things and players within your own league, it goes both ways. But I just some of that'll be kind of fascinating as well.
Yeah, Oklahoma State. Alan Bowman's most likely going to be starting in the Big 12 championship. How about that? So,
I mean, death taxes and Mike Gundy, man. He can't beat Oklahoma regularly. He hasn't been able to win many league championships, but he's winning 7+. This is what, 18
every year.
years in a row.
Yeah.
I mean, yeah, and they got Iowa State worked them. Was it South or North or somebody other than the Roll Tide beat them from Alabama at home, just embarrassed them, and yet they're gonna potentially win 9 games and play for the league title. Go figure. With Alan Bowman.
Yeah.
And we didn't know the name of Ollie Gordon until what, late September.
No.
Now he's like the best running back in the country, or one of, including your guy.
Yeah.
But real quick, I bet you go try to find a punter. I bet you go try to find another kicker. I wonder, like Reese Burkhardt, is he cool just kicking off? Does he need to go be a kicker?
I'm cool with him kicking off because he's great at it.
Me too. Is he cool with that?
Yes.
Like so those are some sneaky things. I bet you go find a DB that can help you play, particularly at corner. Maybe the junior college ranks. Maybe there's a young man at Trinity Valley. Maybe there's a portal edition. Maybe you take both. I don't. We'll keep an eye on that. I don't know if Salih is gotten you what you needed on your interior. of your defensive line, but this is something you needed to address. I think if there's an edge guy out there that you feel like you can't live without, and keep in mind, we don't know what Steve Linton's going to do. He in or out? I don't know. That directly affects if you need to go find an edge guy or not, in my opinion, as you wait on Dylan Spencer and Isaac Smith and Ansel Adore. But there's a whole host of young guys that you know that I think are going to be a lot of fun in this program, and we've started to see what Duda can do, and some of the other youth and these kids and these players are growing up. I don't think you need to go with a linebacker at all. I think you like what you've got there. But a DB, preferably one that can play corner. But I bet you go find somebody else like a Braylon Lux type, honestly, that's got some versatility to him. It would help if they're 6'2" or 6'3", like Rashad and Malik were as well. But offensive line, tight end. I guess if you could find a physical running back, and Taj wasn't going to come back for sure, that you felt like wasn't necessarily the starter, but could help us do some of those things like pick up a blitz, get us through a game, whatever. I could see a scenario to where that would happen. And that would probably depend on some of your other guys maybe leaving and opening up some spots, because there's only so much room here. You
Yeah.
could sit here and want all like we talked about, but you need, and I mean, there may be tough conversations that Joey and his staff have with some of these guys. It's like, I get it that you want to play, but that's just not going to happen here.
Yeah. And this is all going to be coming down very quick, less
Oh
than two
yeah.
weeks, December the 4th. And really it's with right now it's Wednesday, we're recording, Black
Well,
Monday's coming
and
up.
it's going to happen though. You're going to get a lot of announcements next week, in my opinion, that are similar to
Correct.
Tyler Shucks. Not from necessarily your guys, but just out there in the
Well,
in the space. My intent is to enter the portal. Thank you for everything that everybody has done for me, kind of stuff.
and my point was, with Black Monday, coaches get fired, the portal opens immediately to those teams. So like A&M and Michigan State and North, all these schools that have openings, those guys are already in the portal. So we'll see more of that next week. Anything else? I mean, 2025 recruiting is on fire. They're getting a new commit every day, it seems like.
Yeah, and that's gonna start to fill up and all that. I mean, it makes your head spin a little bit. Is that it happens earlier and earlier now that Joey and his staff have been on campus for a while, and you've started to work ahead and build relationships. You can start kind of, because they're always going to major in the high school signees and then grow them up and all that. But you simply have to supplement with the portal, man. You just have no you have no other choice in the matter. Is that this is like a way, because I mean, you just look at some of the pieces on your team. If like you were like, I'm anti-portal, I'm not doing this, it'd be tough sledding. It'd be really tough sledding. So especially with that O-line,
Yeah.
that's the one position group. It's usually got the most bodies in that meeting room, or that's part of that position. And there's a long level of patience that players must show in order to really physically improve and all that. And there's only so many good ones out there. There's only so many good ones. In NFL, that's what, like, everybody, I mean, if you could trade for this and that, go find me a good offensive line. Well, nobody's giving one up because there's not that many of them out there.
Yeah.
They're hard to find. They're hard to hold on to. They're hard to get. It's so not sexy when you draft them or when you sign 4 to 5 of them, because you're thinking like, man, there's just no way that these guys can help us until 2-ish years out. But that's where you win it, man, or lose it, is up front. And we're why have you struggled some on offense this year? And that's a position that hasn't been as good as it needed to be the last decade. I mean, ish.
Yeah.
I think extreme excitement over Caden Carr, extreme excitement over Nick Fadig and those guys. But again, those guys have been on campus for less than a year. So anyway, but yeah, that's a big portal target area right there is that offensive line group and your tight end. You need more big people on offense up front.
Yeah, and you'll need him. I mean, this Friday when you play Texas and those two monster defensive tackles. So
Yeah, because Rusty Stats is not playing center because he's playing through an injury.
yeah,
Jacoby Jackson's not 100%. Has been well documented, and so you know, yeah, good luck. Good luck. I mean, yeah, you're gonna need to throw it a little bit. I would think, but yeah, but anyway, hope to see many folks there. If you're watching this, hope to see many folks there in Austin on Friday night. Um, and just keep your head on a swivel next week as a lot of games are being played and we get closer to the portal window opening up because it's gonna be wild and fast and furious with not just your roster but everybody's. But there will be a lot of you know coming and going. I think, and we'll see.
yeah, no doubt. Portal bowl game. You got Micah Hudson in bowl game practices coming up. This report's going to be exciting. But I mean, is there anything else you wanted to get into level or?
No, yeah, hope everybody has a happy Thanksgiving and certainly thankful
Yes.
for everybody being on Red Ritter Sports. Thankful for people like Ben and Jarrett and Justin and Julio and Matt Clare and Dickens and the whole parade of folks that kind of keep it running on a daily basis. I'm thankful to have a front row seat at a lot of what goes on with Texas Tech athletics. And, anyway, appreciate everybody out there. Hope you get some good time with your family. Till next time, man. Call Jimmy Mitchell if you need some help with the financing on a home, second home, cottage, barn dominium. I don't know, you name it, man. Get after it and enjoy some pie over these next several days. It's the best. It's the best, man.
Well said. Thanks, guys, for subscribing, and we'll do it again soon.